This is the Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
Freo Jordan Clark in the house at the moment. And by the way, Fremantle's playing their 23rd annual Starlight Purple Haze game this weekend. That's always a ripper, actually, Clarkie.
Yeah, no, it's always one of the best ones to be a part of. It's a pretty significant game for the club, and we'll touch on why, I suppose.
Yeah, well, nearly $3.5 million raised by the Purple Army, people coming to games and donating money for the Starlight Foundation.
Yeah, no, it's great. And, there's a lot of sick kids out there that, it's the least we can do really to put a smile on their face.
Yeah.
And
just brings a bit of sunshine to the kids that are, long-termers in PCH and, when they're like, it's being in hospital sucks.
Yeah.
And so the Starlight Foundation do great work at keeping those kids entertained while they're there.
Yeah, you got a Captain Starlight. He always brings the energy. You can buy Starlight wands and beanies on the day if you want to get behind it.
Of course you do. And on the other side of the factor, that's very important, by the way, St Kilda come to town after kicking your ass
redemption
not
round.
long ago, and this is an opportunity.
Yeah, no, it's funny that we're back with the Saints once they beat us. Oh, last time, I don't know how many weeks ago it was, but it felt like the world was ending.
They were coming for you.
Yeah, we had
Probably
people,
was one of them.
we had people jumping out of the drains coming for us. So, but no, it's...
I mean, the good news for you is that the last time they were at Optus Stadium, they got beaten by the Eagles when we won one, remember that?
Yes,
so,
I do.
it's become their hoodoo ground. So, we've done that groundwork for you. You're welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. No, in all seriousness, we're a much better footy team now than we were back then, and we seem to have nutted it out a little bit more. So hopefully we can get one back on them, but there's no guarantees, of course.
No, you're quite well rested because, of course, this is quite the break. So last Thursday to Sunday.
Yep, no, it's a massive break. It's like having back-to-back buys, as we just touched on. Which
does that feel weird to you? Do you get out of a routine, or are you never quite in a routine, really, because it's always changing?
Yeah, no, I'm not one to be massive on a routine just for that reason.
Yeah.
It's always changing week to week. But it's, like I said, it can be positive as well. We've got a few boys under injury clouds who would be playing in our first team at the moment. So, a little hammy where you'd probably miss 3 weeks, you might end up only missing 2 games. So little things like that, they can sort of go your way a bit with big breaks like this. So as much as it sucks and you want to be playing footy, but there's also, as a silver lining, we can get some of our good players back on the track.
You never seem flustered with the change of a situation. The questions come at you all the time, and it doesn't seem to ever worry you in any sense.
From Nat or...
Well, no, it's just...
From Nat.
She can be like that.
She flusters a lot of people.
No,
the
not much phases you at all, does it?
You seem chill.
Not really.
Yeah.
Nah,
What roused you up?
Footy, that's about it.
And PlayStation, because you're not allowed to play that anymore.
Yeah, that's going out the window.
Yeah, because you game rage, don't you?
Just anything game-like.
How many controllers did you break?
I think it was, it was over 10
And
from COVID.
and TVs?
1 and a phone. So,
Well, what was the game that got you so riled up again?
FIFA.
FIFA,
Yeah,
yeah.
a couple of 90-minute losses and that sort of stuff.
Oh, mate, when it goes into extra time or injury time.
It'll do it to anyone, I tell you.
Mate, I'm looking forward to this game because it's going to be a ripper, and a lot of people will get out there because Ross the Boss is in town and because of what happened last time. But while we got you here, I want to talk about a couple of things that are in the news. Gout breaking the Australian record for 200 at a European event just overnight. Are you a 200-metre runner? You strike me as a 200-metre runner.
Yeah, I didn't mind the 200 back at school, but by no means do I be in Gout's league. I think he had crossed the finish line while I'm still breaking the 100-metre mark. I think. He's lightning.
Isn't he amazing?
I did watch that last night. I feel like he doesn't get any lactic acid at all. He just accelerates the longer he goes into the race.
And this is him just on school holidays.
Yeah. No, it's amazing.
What did you do on your school holidays in Queensland already? So he's gone to the Czech Republic to break the Australian record.
Yeah.
Wow.
So good.
Getting ready for the Tokyo World Champs, I think, in September with next school holidays, Nat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What was you would have had a title in the interschools, you would have won one of those events, surely.
I think I did go close to the 200. I can't really remember, to be honest. I actually, believe it or not, hated going into school, like those titles and that. I just, racing like just other schools and, in the PSA it was like all these kids actually train for this stuff. I just play footy and...
I just run around. Yeah.
I was a Hale boy. Yeah, the PSAs, they get into it.
Yeah. And, being at Guildford, we had no chance to begin with anyway.
We had the training.
It's a bunch of farm boys. What are you talking about?
We'd do cross country at Guildford, and then he would, you'd be running through like cow pats.
Yeah.
Oh, you would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
What's your point?
I remember, I did get a clip from this headmaster one day. Like I said, I didn't really enjoy the running stuff. I was doing cross country and sort of taking the piss a little bit with my mates, just walking at the back of the thing. And I was actually on a scholarship.
Yes.
And the headmaster sort of leans over and gives me a fair old clip to get my butt moving because, this is not a good look. And I come third anyway, so it was all right.
Glad you gave him the head start.
You justified that scholarship. You can stay for another term.
I was so guilty.
That's
God.
funny.
Yeah.
Hey, Clarkie, I was watching AFL 360, and this occurred on Monday, right? So Gary Lyon and Jared Waitley, they showed some vision of Damien Hardwick in the box during the game. This was not showed on air in the coverage that was taking place when the Giants were playing the Gold Coast. Anyway, a decision went against the Gold Coast Suns, and the vision that they were able to get behind the scenes things was Damien Hardwick pulling the finger sign.
Oh, yes.
And they showed it on their program. And the AFL decided they're going to give him a $2,000 fine.
Wow.
Here's Gerard Wheatley speaking about it on AFL 360.
Didn't go to air in the hot passion of it. No. We put it to air in the cold light of day the next night, naively thinking that it was funny.
Yep.
So just to be clear, we never would have allowed that to go to air if we'd realised there was the risk that he was going to be fined. This is the stupid, petty nonsense that this administration has totally lost itself in. It's addicted to fines. It wants to sanction. Pick up the phone. That it's not really ideal. Bit of tut-tutting. Do you reckon you could make amends for that at some point down the track? And one is to hope that when Greg Swan gets there, that is the big change of culture that happens.
Yes, the
It's
change
over the
that
top. I probably won't ask you just yet, Clarkie, because we might put you in the shit here. But what do you think, Nat?
I mean, that is ludicrous for starters. Ludicrous.
$2,000.
$2,000 for something that didn't get shown during the game, that nobody saw until because they happened to have footage that somebody's trawled through and they've played it.
And they thought it was funny.
Jared Waitley owes him $2,000.
He does.
Owes him a $2,000. There's no doubt about that. But that is a ludicrous.
Are you always thinking that there is a camera on?
Because you love a finger sign.
Don't you?
Yeah.
Flipping the bird.
Put it down in the studio, please.
Yeah. Just don't post it, guys. I'm with you. I think it is.
That seems over the top to me.
All the finings going a bit over the top.
Yeah.
I mean, like the Windhager thing the other day to Dacos, the amount of players that like whack blokes like that in a game. Like I was speaking to some of the key position boys and I know, and they said I'd be up $30,000 a game.
Yes.
That was a fine every time I did it.
Yeah.
I think it's just, it's getting a bit over the top, to be honest.
But it depends what the focus is. On Friday, what night was it? Was it Friday night or Thursday night football that was taking place?
That was Friday.
Friday.
Yeah.
Because it was Nick Dacos who was in focus.
Yes.
And constantly they were talking about it. That's why it was brought to the attention of the AFL. Then they go, we've got to
If it was
act on
somebody
this.
else, you're saying that wouldn't have happened that way if it was a different player.
Mate, go back to the game where Fremantle got beaten by St Kilda a few weeks ago. And Ross gets out afterwards and they asked him about tagging. He said, no, we didn't even run a tag. They ran 3 or 4 tags during that game and every one of those guys was holding.
doing that, yeah.
You watch any vision of Caleb and Andy in the middle, they were just tackled before the ball.
Yeah.
Like the guy was putting their arms around them so they couldn't even make a play at the ball.
Giving them a hug.
Those fake hugs. You just
Shawnee's bringing it to the attention this week. See what's going to happen.
Yeah, see what happened. Yeah, exactly.
He's all over
Exactly.
it, you know.
Are you commentating on Sunday?
Yes, I am.
Here we go.
Oh,
Here we go. Oh, all right. Throw my
I'm
fingers
going to be
up, see
that
what
biased.
happens.
It's going to be full on.
We're still waiting for the Jordan Clark goal with the N finger sign.
I haven't forgotten.
Yeah.
Have you been
you had.
practicing? Because you've got to, it takes a bit of practice to get it.
Straight
Yeah,
away.
you've got
Nathan, Nat, and Shaun podcast.
Of course, we're all very closely watching events unfolding in the Middle East, and especially as invested as I am, because I am due to fly via Dubai to Turkey, which borders Iran, next Friday.
And don't forget, Trump just came out saying this.
They don't know what the they're doing.
Yeah,
you understand that?
Yeah.
But that wasn't the Middle East, that was here. And so we go,
That's us.
We took that
finally he said something that makes sense.
a bit personally. And then, of course, so if we skip back 24 hours to when Iran was bombing Doha.
Yes.
So bombing a US base in Qatar. Qatar's a very small country. Doha is just up the road from Dubai. Doha is also where flights that are on Qatar Airlines, They stop over in Doha, so that airspace was closed. But our hearts went out to the Qantas flight that was direct from Perth to Charles de Gaulle Airport, which is Paris. So there's a direct service,
Yes.
and they were on their way. And 7.5 hours in, they had to turn around and come back again.
7.5 hours.
So that is, if you double that, that's 15 hours in the air and you haven't gone anywhere.
So they came all the way back to Perth.
Yeah, because because there was so much uncertainty and they were going to have to fly right over the top of it.
That is, and so they would have got an announcement halfway through.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
And if you're the person like me, a bit of a nerd who watches the map, I like to watch the map every now and then, and you'd be looking at the map and just going, "Where's the stunner U-turn?"
Yeah, and I saw
7.5 hours. How far you reckon you get in 7.5 hours as past Singapore and all that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, so you're not going.
You're not going that way.
No,
anyway,
you're not going that way. So you'd be probably.
You turn left at the lights.
Probably over the Maldives, maybe.
And it's,
yes.
So 14 hours, and they're in the same spot they left 15 hours ago.
And then they rock up and they're home.
How would you feel if you're on that flight before you knew it was?
Well, I've been close to this happening to me. So 2 years ago, I was heading over and I was on the direct flight from Perth to London. And then I was getting a connection to Copenhagen to go and visit my cousin that lives in Denmark, Princess Mary.
Yes, of course. Remember.
That's what I tell everyone. And then we were 3.5 hours into that flight and the pilot came on and said... There he is. And he said, we're terribly sorry. We have a medical emergency on board. We're returning to Perth. And we did the U-turn. And then we're going. And then so I'm like, they'd just served dinner. So everybody was starting to settle into for the night, essentially, because by then it was about 10:30 at night and getting close to 11 o'clock. And we were all like, oh, this is awful. But there were quite a few people who decided that they were going to get through this flight because it's tough in economy. And I was down the bank with them.
What were you doing there?
I know, I don't know. It was
Lose your keys?
error of I'd asked for an upgrade. Don't worry, missed out. It was full, and they pop a sleeping pill to help them get through.
Yeah,
and of course. Then what happened? So we were going to return to Perth, and which would have been 7 hours in the air and not going anywhere. And I'm thinking I'm going to have to go home and wake up my house sitter who's looking at, and it's a lot to explain, and a lot of unknown because I've got onward flights and all this sort of stuff. And then we ended up in Singapore because the passenger who was having the medical episode had deteriorated, and luckily for him, he did survive. So this, nobody begrudged it. It literally saved his life, and the fact that business class on that particular flight was full of doctors going on their Euro vacay. He was in great hands. Yeah, okay. So it was a happy ending ultimately. But we were then stranded. So we arrived in the middle of the night in Singapore. Everybody who'd popped their pills were literally dazed and confused. They didn't know what was going on. They thought they were going to be waking up in London. All of a sudden they're in a airport lounge at Changi Airport and being sort of bundled onto buses and sent off to accommodation. And they did a great job of accommodating us in the middle of the night. It was incredible the way they actually operated and mobilised and got everybody up and going. But it was a very long day. And at the end of it, then we didn't leave Singapore until 11:30 the following night, that night. So we had pretty much 24 hours in Singapore.
Sometimes you got to turn back.
I know.
But
15 hours, 7.5 hours in.
Yeah, I mean... once you knew why, I'm sure you are.
Yeah, that's right, because they didn't want to fly over war.
Yeah.
Nathan, Nat and Shaun in podcast form.
There's nothing more frustrating than when you're on your way and then for whatever reason, you have to turn around and go back again. That's what we're talking about, inspired by the flight that was headed to Paris, direct from Perth, 7.5 hours in, turned around and all the way back again. So 15 hours of flying to be no closer to your destination at the end of it.
I don't have patience. I would lose my bloody mind. I really would. Find it very difficult.
I know. These things happen when war breaks out while you're in the air. Extraordinary. Tom's in North Perth. Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, Tom. Buddy. Have you been turned around? What happened?
Oh, basically, back in the UK, the family's supposed to go into Gran Canaria or one of the Canary Islands.
Yes.
About to get on the plane, setting off, and a volcano erupts in the middle of Gran Canaria, I think it was.
Oh.
Bad
so
timing.
Got grounded. Yeah, it was a bloody nightmare.
How did you feel? Because, I mean, you can't really be angry at an inanimate volcano. You can be, I guess.
Nah, I was kind of disappointed that I didn't get to see it, to be honest. I wanted to see it from the plane.
Yeah, right. As the plane's engulfed in a cloud of ash.
Yeah,
But
okay, that's really good for the engines.
Yeah, I didn't get to see it once.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's
Did you get to go on the holiday, or was the whole holiday cancelled?
Whole holiday cancelled.
Yeah.
Flights across Europe got grounded. I had to just, I had to wait until the next following week, I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh, lucky you with EasyJet because there's another £10 and then you're off again.
Good times. Thanks, Tom. Jay's in Ellenbrook. Morning, Jay.
Morning, guys. How are you?
Good, Jay.
Buddy. Now, when did you have to turn around?
So a few years ago, I thought I'll take the family to go and see where I grew up in Bridgetown. So
Lovely.
we planned a little nice, staycay down there.
Yep.
Drive down, and the kids have both forgotten the comforters.
Oh, no.
Is that like a pillow or a teddy bear?
No, a blanket, little blanket that they have.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they cannot sleep without them. So
Yes.
I dropped them off at the chalets, drove all the way back to Ellenbrook to grab 2 blankets, and then drove back.
Oh, Jay, you're a great dad,
Jay.
but how annoying.
So what is it? It's
And
about
that's a
3 hours to
3 and a-
Bridgetown?
Yeah, about 3 hours, 3.5 hour trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was nice and fun. But
So you
know,
went
I
down,
thought, Dad,
back and down again. So that's 9, 10,
10
10 and a
hours.
half hours.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling somebody would have blamed you for this.
Yes,
No,
I
she's in
definitely
the
got blamed
background.
for it. And
Yeah.
they stayed down there while I drove back.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they did.
Jay,
Oh,
Jay.
yeah, Jay.
good man, though.
Oh, yeah, that's the trap, isn't it?
Confidence.
When they rely on them to sleep.
And you
It's
can't, talk him out of it logically, can you?
No.
No.
Oh, kids.
I know. Who'd have them?
exactly.
Thanks, Jay. Tan is in Jane Brook. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hey,
Good, Tan.
Tan. Okay, why did you have to turn around? What happened?
Okay, so this didn't actually happen to me, but one of my very good friends, her and her husband are school teachers, so they set off on their school holidays with their 4 young children, and they on the way to Carragini, they get probably halfway there, which is about a 15-hour drive, and they had to pull over for a toilet break, and their rag dog cat was in the caravan with them. It had gotten in while they were packing up. No one had noticed. So they were about to turn around and head all the way back, but they got a family member to meet them halfway. So they only had to do about 6 hours back rather than...
With a stowaway cat. Because you can't take a cat into a
No.
national park.
No, you
Dawn.
can't.
So,
old Carragini. Oh, my
No.
goodness.
and also, you'd just be worried it'd run away all the time.
Pussy on the loose isn't good in Carragini.
No, you don't want that, Sean.
Nathan, Nat, and Sean in podcast form.
We're going to catch up with former Wallaby, the absolute
legend.
superstar, 2-time World Cup winner, and that is Timmy Horan. G'day, Tim.
Morning.
G'day guys, thanks for having us on your show. I'm over in Perth and due to some British and Irish Lions fans starting
Aren't
to
there?
stream into Perth
I
now.
know. I mean, there's a lot live here anyway. We have a big British population here, but also, the fact that any excuse to come over and visit, this is a pretty good excuse.
Well, that only happens every 12 years, the British and Irish Lions tour to Australia.
Yeah.
So it's been a long wait for us, and it's great that, Perth get that first game and expecting over 45, nearly 50,000 people tomorrow night at Optus Stadium. So you've had a couple of big matches here the last few weeks.
Yeah, we've been
Mate,
busy.
it's been busy, yeah. With the State of Origin, the NRL stuff happening, 2 NRL games, actually, apart from the State of Origin, footy and the like. But, hey, Tim, did you get the opportunity? You would have, I would imagine, played against the British and Irish Lions?
Yeah, a long time ago. Since I just virtually first year out of school, I was 19 years of age, and I sat on the bench for the 3 test matches for the Wallabies, and never got a chance to actually get on. Those days, you had to be stretched off the field to get a replacement on. But I played against them for my state for Queensland, and it's an amazing experience. And for these British and Irish Lions players, for them as well, they only tour every 4 years to South Africa and also to New Zealand. So it's a great experience, and what these players for the Western Force will appreciate tomorrow night, especially if they're not going to play for the Wallabies. It's your once and only time in your career to play against them.
Yeah.
There's a bit of almost they're like a mythical beast, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
The way they assemble every 4 years. It's like, must be strange. But obviously a big honour, but they don't play together that often. Is that, will that affect the way that they play?
Yeah, I think it's just the combinations.
Yeah.
And they lost a game. They played over in Ireland against Argentina last Saturday and lost that match, the test match against Ireland. So, against Argentina in Ireland. And I think that's just because the combination. You've got England, Wales, Scotland, and Ireland. They all just come together. They belt each other in what's called the Six Nations, and then they all of a sudden come together. So
they're besties.
Andy Farrell is the coach of the British and Irish Lions. He coaches Ireland at the moment.
What an absolute honour to that.
Yeah. Massively.
Tim, were you able to souvenir anything when you played them back in your day?
Yeah, I think I've got a jersey somewhere. I've got a few jerseys underneath my stairs and a couple of sports bags. I think I've got a jersey from them. But, it's an incredible experience just to understand, the history of the British and Irish Lions and, for the Wallaby, you have to. There's very few players that get a chance to play against the Lions twice. I think James Slipper for the Wallabies, he'll get a chance to play them for the second time. So, just an amazing experience and the history that goes with the side.
Yeah, I mean, it is incredible because when you think about it, the Brits and the Irish don't really historically get along. So the fact that this is rugby bringing two nations together is kind of cute.
Yeah, it's funny because all the Lions fans, there's about 35 to 40,000 Lions supporters that come out from the UK, and of course there's some here in Perth now. Most of them arrived yesterday. Yeah. And you always get that competition. Who's the biggest drinker? Like, is it the Irish? Is it the English? Is it the Welsh? And I walked past a couple of the Irish bars last night, and they're starting to heave.
The boys go nuts.
I reckon I would back the Irish in that competition for sure.
Bloody hell! It'd be so good to be able to see. Hey, Tim, I want to know how you see the Wallabies developing. Of course, Joe Schmidt decided to stick around for a bit longer, and it seems like that was a really good move for Australian rugby to be able to keep him here and doing the job that he was doing. But we do seem like we're on the edge of making the next step after being in the wilderness a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. I think the last end of season tour last year, where the Wallabies had a great win against England in England, had 3 or 4 test matches over there, and I think he's got a good rhythm. Super Rugby's been pretty good for us this year, and I think with Joe Smith, they play Fiji in Newcastle next Saturday, and that's 2 weeks out before the first test match against the Lions in Brisbane. So gets a chance for players like Max Jorgensen and Joseph Suaalii to come back from injury and play in that test match, get some game time. So he's got no injuries in the team at the moment, which is great. So hopefully you go against Fiji, you win that test match, and you've got 2 weeks preparation for that first test in Brisbane. And those test matches, Brisbane, Melbourne, then Sydney.
After that, with the Bledisloe Cup taking place, do you reckon... Are we closing the gap against New Zealand?
Are we ever going to get back to beating them again?
It's been a long time.
Yes, particularly in New Zealand,
Oh, totally. There's kids probably who are 22, 23 years of age have never seen the Bledisloe Cup in Australia. So
amazing.
That's how long it's been. But the first test match this year for the Bledisloe Cup's in Auckland, and then the second one's back here in Perth in very early October. So, geez, if you can win the first one away and get the chance to potentially grab it here in Perth would be huge.
Well, I was at that match years ago where they took on the Wallabies took on New Zealand here in Perth, and they beat them like 48-0, and everybody's just going, what is happening? What just happened? What just happened? Nobody expected that result at all. Then they went to New Zealand, got walloped, obviously, but it was like, so clearly it's a golden ground for them.
Yeah, I think the Wallabies, they love playing over here, and the Western Australian government's been great support for rugby for many years now, and we played plenty of test matches over here and at Subiaco back in the day.
Yeah.
So, I think we're closing the gap a little bit. It'd be nice to grab one hand around that Bledisloe Cup one day.
Absolutely. Well, you can watch all the action live on demand. The home of rugby, Stan Sport, this season. There's going to be some huge matches. Yep. Tim, really appreciate your time. You're an absolute Australian legend.
Have a good time in Perth.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for it.
Cheers. That's Tim Horan, Wallaby legend.
This is a podcast of Nathan, Nat and Shaun.
Right now, time to catch up with one of our funny friends, I think it's safe to say. Yep. He is headed our way for the Melbourne International Comedy Festival Roadshow. It's quite the lineup too, but I mean the star of it all really is the one and only Tom Ballard.
Morning.
Hello.
Good morning, friends. You're damn right I'm the star. Never forget it. I'm the best.
Yeah, no, we know. You're probably in a separate Tarago to the rest of them. And the beauty of the roadshow is you are literally on the road. Tell everybody where you are right now.
Guys, I'm in a motel room in Kalgoorlie drinking Nescafe. And I just want to say to all those kids out there that dreams can come true.
Yes. Oh, wow.
This could be your life as well.
Did you have like the little carton of milk thing inside your minibar?
Long life milk, yeah.
Yes, there is a minibar. And the lollies and stuff, they're like $3.50, which is still like it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that's quite reasonable.
That's country prices, you know? I think that's quite reasonable.
And you're in a mining town. They've got money there. So, it's amazing you're not being ripped off.
Tom,
yeah, look at that big old pit, that sweet pit money.
Yeah, exactly. There's some other exciting things around. What are you visiting today?
We're going to definitely go to the super pit, which is exciting. But, of course, we're following up the pit with the world's tallest bin.
Amazing.
I've been to Kalgoorlie before. I haven't been to the world's tallest bin. I didn't know the world's tallest bin was here, but it is here, and we're going to do that. Then we're doing the show, and then we're skimpies. So today it is pit, bin, and tit.
How good's that? Are you going to allow people to flip a coin against you so they get a flash?
Is that part of the culture?
Yes, yes, it is. Culture is a loose term, but yes.
We've got Takashi Wakasugi on the tour with us, and she's very excited about just learning about Australian culture, bins, pits, and skimpies. So I think he'll be incredibly embarrassed, but it'll be good to show him that this is what we're all about here in Australia.
Buddy, hey Tom, we were reminiscing about catching up with you yesterday, and Nat mentioned the fact when you last came to this studio, you were staying up the road at Reece Nicholson's mother-in-law's place, and you walked down here to the studio, and it was one of those really steaming hot days. And when you came in, it looked like you ran a marathon.
Dehydrating in front of us.
Yeah, that was when I was like really unfit. Now I'm really ripped. You can't see right now. I'll send you a photo later on.
We can hear
I'm really fit and healthy.
Yeah, no, I believe you.
Thank you. All the miners in Kalgoorlie are like, who's that guy? He's got crazy muscles. So,
who's that incredibly hot fellow? We love the roadshow because it does showcase, it brings a showcase of some of the best comics, and not always people that you've heard of, but people, the real up-and-comers. But this is a solid lineup. So there's Alex Ward, she's incredible. Often see her on things like Have You Been Paying Attention? Danielle Walker, who was on Taskmaster. Harry Jun, don't know much about Harry. And Takashi, he was Takawaka, we call him. He was on the most recent series of Taskmaster, but he lived in Perth for a while too.
Oh, yeah, right.
So he was stuck here during COVID, living his best life. So, we know Taka.
You can't say that he chose to live there.
He was legit trapped here.
Because of border control.
Yeah, no, that's right. But we claim him because of that.
We kidnapped him. Yeah, it's amazing. It's such a great lineup. I mean, as you say, Taskmaster stars. Harry Jun is awesome. He's a Sydney dude. He's really, really funny. I think he's going to be really big over the next couple of years. Lovely man and a very funny guy who does a lot of online videos and stuff. It's a fantastic stand-up. So, it's great. Normally there's an arsehole of some description.
Yeah, I was just going to say. But that's solid.
I guess that's me.
Yeah,
I guess that's me.
Yeah, that's right.
If you look around.
Who's your bestie though? Who's your little touring bestie?
Oh, my gosh. Well, I mean, yes, we just went out for dinner last night, and everyone was there. Don't make me choose amongst my children. I've known Alex Ward for a very long time. Her older brother is Tom Ward, who is Josh Thomas's best friend. I used to date Josh Thomas. We all got to hang out in Brisbane together, and Alex was just this funny younger sister who was nice to meet, and then she started doing stand-up and
killed it. Comedy
yeah, it's great.
Hey, Tom, you guys, the Comedy Festival Roadshow has been going on for quite some time, which has been awesome. When you go to some of these towns, have there been some that haven't been a great experience? And I'm talking all over Australia.
Honestly, generally not, and of course I would say that. I will say that the tradition you do is, as a comedian, you arrive in the town, you have a little look around the town, you see the cool stuff, you're obviously nice to everybody, but you notice, these are the things that are a little bit crappy in this town. These are the local jokes. If you reference these jokes on stage because they're a bit shit, people will laugh and have a great time. In Swan Hill in Victoria, I started going up and talking about, hey, this town's a bit crap, and people were like, yeah, we know, that's why we're at comedy. Please say something funny for the love of God. So sometimes the towns are so bleak that they can't even escape the horrors of the town through comedy. So that's a tricky one.
Swan Hill's it's up on the Murray, isn't it? It's all right.
I like it, but for whatever the collection of people in that room were like, nah, funny boy.
No.
Talk about anything but Swan Hill, please.
Tom, I've seen a bit of your stuff, very funny stuff, and the stories you tell. Have you ever gotten in trouble for any of the stories you've told during your gigs?
Yes, I'll answer this for you, Tom. Yes. Haven't you, Tom?
Yes.
Go on.
Yes.
Tell
There have
more.
been some people in the media who do not like the things that I say on stage. And people can search Tom Ballard Daily Mail if they want to find out about that.
There was a little bit where you were flouting some recently made laws in Victoria. Would that be fair to say, with a gesture?
I was doing a very clever satire, thank you, about some recent things that you can do with your arm, I suppose.
Okay,
it was all in context. It was all taken out of context.
Yeah, that's right.
It was all fine.
This is
It's
the
comedy.
headline.
It's satire.
Should comedian Tom Ballard be cancelled?
Wow.
If I can't get cancelled, I can't geek in Kalgoorlie, then I'm in real trouble. I think that's
Most definitely. Hey, Tom, you got any TV stuff coming up as well?
Ooh, well, I was just on House of Games. Oh, that was funny, actually. I was in Caloundra the other week on doing a comedy roadshow, and that week was my House of Games episodes. We're going out on the ABC with Claire Hooper. And a lady interrupted my set on stage to be like, "You were on the telly an hour ago. How did you get here?"
Oh,
and I was like, "Oh, Caloundra. How long have you had TV? Come on, guys."
Does she think it's all live? That's actually amazing.
I guess so. I did it, finished at 7 p.m. and then got a direct flight to Caloundra to appear on stage.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Oh, bless her little heart. I mean, obviously she's going to find everything funny or confusing either way. Tom, have you been courted by Taskmaster yet?
Courted. Is it courting if I'm desperately calling them every day to get them to book me on the show? No, look, I love that show. Everyone loves that show. Every comedian's dream is to get on there. There are too many comedians and only so many spots, but it's doing really well. It's going on, and I'll happily just watch it for now. I got to write on Guy Montgomery's Spelling Bee this year. That was really fun. Yeah. So I gave a few jokes that came out of Guy, and I've got a Specs and Specs coming out later in the year. They're celebrating 20 years this year, so that'll be out later on. This year, yeah. So I'm doing fine, okay, Mum and Dad? I'm actually doing fine.
But there's only so many Toms you can have on one show. That's the limit.
Well, you say that.
We're the new Dave. We're the new Dave.
Tommy Little was just on it, so...
Jeez, okay, well, it's 3, not a 4.
The other Tommy with massive muscles. We're the same, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, there you go.
People do get confused and think you're the same person. Tom, you enjoy Kalgoorlie, and we can't wait till you get here. Saturday, everybody, Saturday night at the Regal Theatre, which is a cracking venue. Tickets from comedyfestival.com.au. It is a great lineup. Tom Ballard, you're the MC, right? You're hosting it?
I'm on there the whole time. Yep.
Yes,
it's all Tom. It's all Tom all the time. It's a great lineup. People come out. It'll be really fun Saturday
Alex
night.
Ward, Danielle Walker, who I watched her win Raw Comedy several years ago, and she was extraordinary then, and she's only gotten better. Harry Jordan, Takashi Wakasugi returning home to his spiritual home of Perth. Tom, it's great to catch up. We'll see you again soon.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, crew. Have a great day.
Nathan, Nat and Shaun in podcast form.
Well, the big Gov is in the studio. Last week was such a big week for the great man announcing his retirement from AFL football, and we thought a momentous occasion like this deserves a big package, which you reckon you have. Here's another one, Gov.
Tell you what, we live when the old governor comes into the studio, Jeremy McGovern. We're all up and about. You have been named.
Yep.
So,
Squeaky over here, sorry.
Do you have a premiership tattoo?
Yeah, I got.
You got that one?
Premiership West Coast one and a Claremont one.
Where are those ones? CFC?
On my ass.
Butt cheek each?
Yeah, on my cheeks. I was a plumber. I was 2 metres deep in a hole. When
In
I
a trench?
And what did you do? Just drop the plunger and walk off? I literally jumped out. He said, "Well, you got to finish this off." I said, "No, that's all yours, mate." And I made it. So that was huge. You guys don't wear Crocs?
No.
Mate,
go with it. Don't get me wrong, they're not the prettiest looking
They
shoes.
don't look bad on you.
They are comfy.
Will you go a croc and sock?
Yeah.
I'm crocking and socking.
Yeah. Okay, and then at home when you're just like by yourself, just the family, are you croc, sock and jocking?
Yeah. No, I'm croc, socking, no jocking.
How are you with modelling?
Terrible. That's the reason I'm on the radio.
Just look to your right there,
I'm sure we can all relate.
We're live from Bull Creek Primary School this morning, celebrating Book Week in style, and it's time for story time with Jeremy McGovern.
Don't get too excited.
The kids are really beside
Careful
themselves.
what you wish for.
Give a cheer if Jeremy McGovern's good at reading a book. Go. Wow. Give a cheer if Jeremy McGovern is better playing football. Go.
That was never in doubt.
I would have been worried if they didn't scream the second time.
I've got something else for you to try, Gov.
All right.
A delicacy.
Oh.
It's called salted licorice.
Yeah, all of it.
What do you think?
Filthy. I won't be forgetting that, that's for sure.
Here we see through time. No Shorty back today, but auditioning for his job as we speak. Jeremy
He's doing a bang-up job.
I'm trying. We're still looking extremely fit, Shawnee.
Oh, okay. You're married, so maybe like step off.
Settle down.
Yeah. You do want his job, though, you're saying. Yeah. Do you think this
It's
job...
not that I want it, it's just that I've already got it. But I just want to do the right thing by Shawnee.
It's a natural progression for you post-football.
Yeah, no, maybe in 5 years, 10 years when I finish.
Tell me, did you fall for a shooting star?
I'll try help for sure, and I feel like I can contribute, but I don't think I'm going to change the game. No, if we win on Saturday,
expecting big things.
I'm going to be claiming every bit of it.
You thought we were going to do highlights of your career, but it was just highlights of you talking to us.
Crocs. No, they were good highlights.
And you are wearing Crocs to this day.
Yeah, I'm staying true to the Crocs. If Crocs are out there, you'll buy that many of them. Send me a couple of pairs.
Did you remember all that stuff? Because the licorice bit, you looked like you were remembering it.
Yeah, no, I do now.
I look at that footage from time to time. It just makes me so happy.
Yeah, it's been a while on here. I don't know how many years have I been on here. It's been a there you go, a few years. It felt like forever. To be honest, it's been good. It's been hell fun. So I loved it. Hey, Gov, last time we were here, last Friday, you told us that you had to speak to the team before you announced your retirement. Because a lot of people come up to us and go, you had Gov on this morning on your side. But
you did tell us off air, but of course, it's not right that you announce it to the world before you speak to the guys. And because the Eagles had been on a 4-day break, nobody was around to tell. I had to wait till they all got together again.
Yeah, there was a lot of phone calls, and then obviously had to wait until the boys got in and do all that. So I'll let you guys know first for sure, because part of me family, I guess. And you did the right thing and not tell anyone. How did it go, mate? It was tough. Very tough. Like that's the thing I think as a footballer you dread doing.
And you know it has to happen at some point in your career. Yours probably a little bit earlier than anybody would have wanted, but still, it's like that almost a rite of passage. You've got to go through it in order to put the exclamation point at the end of your career. But it's not easy.
It's such a weird one because you know you got to do it and you like sort of want to do it. Yeah. But then when you get thrown in there, I'm like, oh shit, this is hard.
And even if you write everything down and you know what you want to say, that's not the same as standing in front of those teammates and saying it to their little faces are looking up at you.
Yeah, that was the hardest bit. It was good to see that people
Did you
actually
just,
cared.
Look at the ceiling?
I'm just like looking up and there's a few boys bolting up. I'm like, this is good to know.
Yeah.
And then my missus Maddie's in the front row smiling, going, finally.
I've got him to myself.
Yeah, so it was emotional stuff, and hardest thing I've had to do for a long time. But at the same time, that's part of the game and part of the beauty of it, and that's why you play, I guess, in a way, is to get a little bit of love back from everyone. We probably don't say it to each other enough of how much we.
Yeah, that's true.
It's something I've really learned or seen over the last week or so, is that I feel completely different now to what I did when I was playing.
Yeah, sure.
It's just purely because we just get on. It's such a quick, fast industry. We don't really have time to sit around and talk and tell everyone how much we love them.
Yeah, that's right.
Not until they're done. So, it's been good little process to go through, but at the same time, I'm glad it's over. It's not hanging over my head.
Well, now you're in a new club. You're in Sean McManus's gang of being an ex-footballer.
Yeah.
You just get to laze around and do nothing. Have you been enjoying doing that this week?
Yeah, I have and I haven't. I've been waking up going, what do
I do? What do I do today?
So you stopped going. I wondered if you were going to stop going to the club. I know you've finished, but you can still
going to hang around because Sean still goes down the dock. It's been 15 years, mate. Let it go.
He put his hand up for the mid-season draft. That was the Carlton draft. When I finished on the whatever day it was, Saturday, for example, I'd made a deal with Paul Hazelby because he was coming back from a knee reconstruction that I would train with him, and his first training session was on the Monday, and I turned up to run with him.
And everyone went, he doesn't know he doesn't work here anymore.
Yeah.
He doesn't even go here.
He was feeling that sad for me because this bastard won't just
let go.
He won't let go.
Let it go. He's going to tell him.
Yeah, I did say to Hayes, I'll help you get through and I'll run with you whenever you need to run. So, that was embarrassing. I did feel a bit bad in the end.
I don't know if I'll be running Shawnee. I've But I've gone in for a couple of meetings in there with the club. But most of this week I've just been taking a bit of time and sorting a few things out outside of footy, and then I'll definitely be around the boys for the rest of the year. I'd imagine on what capacity, don't know yet, but I'll be helping out wherever I can, and I'll be cheering them on from the stands. But I don't know what it looks like right now. I've got a lot of things. Obviously, I've got with the concussion stuff. I've got to get all that sorted first, and then I'll slowly look to get back into the group. They're away this weekend, obviously with Collingwood, and then hopefully next week I'll be back in some capacity. I don't know what yet, but I'll figure that out. I've got time.
Gav, one of the things happens when you retire, there's people who reach out from all over the place. So I want to know opposition footy players / administrators and the AFL, did they reach out to you? By that I mean the CEO.
No, not yet. Not the CEO. No. But I've had a few other players reach out, which is always nice, I think, because you obviously we all play the game, and you admire a lot of different players, and you've had a few reach out, like Harris Andrews and Tom Stewart's and those type of guys that have sort of been in similar positions to what I have, and awesome. I guess from afar we obviously follow each other's career a bit.
Yeah.
And then obviously same thing, not until you finish.
So what do they just slide into your DMs? Is that what happens?
Yes. I think Harris got me a number from Alex Withering.
Yeah,
so
right.
You can find a way.
Yeah.
But they're always nice to get those messages from those type of guys that you've obviously admired yourself.
Yeah, of course.
And you respect, and they know what it takes and what the game demands and what we got to go through is in that particular position. So they're always nice to get those messages, and past players and everything like that is always good. But the best ones that I had was my junior coaches.
Yeah, awesome.
So I gave a couple of those guys a call and told them I'm retiring, and that was where it really hit home. Is they've been following my career.
Yeah, that's right. That's
where it starts. Yeah. with those guys. So it was nice to give them a call, emotional, but it was really nice to give them a bit of recognition. Yeah, because. Yeah, I hope they understand that that's where your footy starts, your journey starts
exactly.
there.
Like they're invested in your whole career.
Yeah, and there's a lot of pivotal people throughout everyone's career that help you out. But for me, I had a lot. I was a lot of baggage in a lot of different ways. A lot of it was on my stomach, but I had a lot of things and a little bit of a different way of getting there.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of people that helped. So I'm slowly trying to get around to them over the next few weeks and say thanks and. Appreciate them for what they've done and just let them know, because these junior coaches still back down in Albany for me, a lot of them still coaching away, and I just want to let them know that there's might be another young Gov down there.
Yes.
So just keep doing what you're doing, because it impacts now, and it's the first thing I thought about when I retired. I was
That's so great.
How'd I get here?
Nathan, Nat and Shaun in podcast form.
We are hanging out with the recently retired Jeremy McGovern for the West Coast Eagles.
Fresh
I
as a daisy.
Still, he doesn't quite know what to do with himself.
No, I'm here all day. So
I know, but we wanted to sort of reflect on a few of the moments from your career and get your side of the story. Ross is obsessed with you too.
Oh, I hadn't seen this. Okay, I'm going to play you the April last year. This is the vision in the big screen, but you'll hear it as well.
This season, the Sydney Swans, you would think would be finals bound, and
big
how is McGovern
shoulder to the jaw,
that hip and shoulder? It seemed like he had a tooth issue, whether it's a tooth he spat out and handed. I'm not a dentist, but
bits out your tooth, hand it to the trainer,
and then goes back to play,
as if you're just wiping off like a bit of snot or something.
Yeah. You wear your mouth guards, kids. I didn't have my mouth guard, and that's why I did it.
And you just kept going. Did it hurt?
I played my whole career with no mouth guard.
That is amazing.
Why?
I don't know.
Did you first, and because when you first put in a mouth guard, you're like, oh no, I can't talk.
If you ever put it in, it sort of half makes you dry reach a bit.
Yeah.
And then I sound like an idiot normally. You put a mouth guard in and try to talk to someone's even worse.
Yeah.
And then I've obviously throughout my career took there's a lot to get a lot of air into my lungs.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to mouthguard him the way of getting some air in. But, I don't know. My mum and dad were furious about it. But so was Manny. Everyone was. But I just sort of didn't say much. I always had it on me.
Yeah.
But
you just carried it
always
around.
had it on you in your sock? or
yeah,
your
like
shorts?
sometimes when I knew that the whips were cracking a little bit, and I was like, you might have to do a little bit more here. I'd throw it in quickly because just in case. But nah.
And when you pass your tooth off, it doesn't look like you told him to put it in milk. It looks like you just got on with the job.
Yeah, because I didn't know what was, and then I felt it crack because it cracked it, and I was, it didn't hurt that much, and I was like, oh, here, take it. I got to get on with the game. I think we were right in that game against Sydney. They overrun us late, but I don't know.
That is boss move. That is a cool bit of vision.
No Tooth Fairy though. I didn't get any money from the Tooth Fairy.
No, with that. My question for you is, I want to talk to us about the run up to the 2018 grand final, because it was the will he be playing, won't he be playing? You were dodgy
broken ribs.
Yeah, no, I didn't even have the broken ribs then.
So you broke them during the game, yeah? What was the injury that was going to stop you from playing?
It was like I hate the word internal bleeding but that's what it was.
What's that all?
But it just sounds way worse, I guess, in a way. But,
what was bleeding internally? What was it?
So I had a big cork, if that makes sense, but it was all
like a hematoma kind of situation.
But it was in around all your livers and stomachs and all that sort of jazz in there, and it was just we couldn't get it out. If that makes like a cork, you got to try to flush it.
Yes,
Like if you get a big cork, you can flush it. So we couldn't get to it.
Because your liver was in the way.
Because we had the week off after that game, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. This is a blur. Because I was in hospital until I think Wednesday or Thursday before we left. Yeah, I hadn't even seen anyone because
so you're talking about so the game was Saturday.
Yeah,
Wednesday or Thursday, you're still in hospital.
I was like, I'll go home, and then as I got home, I tried to get out of my car. Lucky my dad was there. I was like, it started getting real bad. Like, obviously, it kept bleeding.
Yeah.
And then, I had to go to the hospital. And I remember the Kof and Simo coming in and going, oh, you do not look good. They reckon I was just pale. I was just sore. I was in a fair bit of pain. I was there for a little bit. And then obviously had to fly out and go to the game, got over there. And I wasn't in a meeting.
In your mind, was there any situation where you weren't playing?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So it was really touch and go. I
was doomed, I thought. And then enter Stevie Gravina, who's had a massive part of my whole career. But he was one of our physios at the time.
Who is he, Mr. Miyagi? Did he do that weird flat thing and laid on the hands?
Well, we tried everything. So you try and inject it and take the blood out and then, flush it and try to get it moving up. But I couldn't move. And then have you heard of Wim Hof?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this was back in 2018 when Wim Hof was just coming out, and Steve Gravina said, look, you might think this is funny, but we're going to try to do this Wim Hof breathing.
Yes.
And then all I did for the days leading up is I'd lie down and just do this big, deep Wim Hof breathing. And then it just, because it was moving everything.
Basically pumped it out.
Started flushing it that I could just get moving before the captain's run to do a fitness test.
Yeah.
Oh, you should have seen the fitness test. Oh, it was, I don't know how they let
So like literally they just let you walk on the ground. And Simo's like, he's good to go.
What did you do and how much pain were you in there?
I remember running out and I ran to the other side of the square and back, and I stood in the same spot
and
for
then
ages,
cried for a bit.
And then just did a couple of kicks, and they said, we're going to do a bit of a bump and stuff.
You're like, please don't.
And there was cameras and stuff on the ground.
Yeah,
and, mate,
of
there's
course.
helicopters going over because it's all the pre-game stuff.
Yeah.
And the club's like, we'll do it downstairs, I think. And I said, it's a good idea. And then Tim Jepp's been in the club forever. He goes, I'll tick you off, Gov. And I just looked at him and said, like, with my eyes, like, tick me off.
Yeah.
And I did a little bump. And he goes, might need a little bit more. And I just remember gritting my teeth and bumping the bag, and it hurt.
So this is the Friday before the game, yeah?
Yeah, day before. 2 days before.
So Thursday, yeah.
And then did it, and I looked at him, he goes, are you going to be all right? And I said, yeah. He goes, all right.
Look at my eyes.
All right, we'll clear. All right, no worries. But then we needed the next 20. I was like, let's just give me to deadline. And Simo's like, mate, right till deadline.
Yes, yeah. So you had until basically you ran out to decide.
Oscar Allen was the emergency, young Aussie.
Oh, God, he would have been a child.
Yeah, he was. He was, real. Yeah. And the hardest thing of all that was the decision to play.
Yes.
And they'd possibly let your team down.
Yeah, already had to bring in Will Schofield from nowhere to play it for Shep, who was injured with his hammy.
Yeah, so it was the biggest thing was, like, you can deal with it when you start playing, but it's like, am I going to be a hindrance to this group and possibly cost
It's a roll of the dice, exactly.
So that was the hardest thing to do.
And then you broke your ribs during the game.
Yeah, so then Collingwood obviously knew I was a bit sore, and then they were getting into me a fair bit, but they were getting the wrong side.
Suckers.
So I was like,
classic Collingwood, isn't it?
Keep going. And then, later on in that game, they end up cracking my rib, which was the other side. And then I didn't really realise that I broke it. Not until about 2 weeks after our celebrations.
Yeah, because you
so
went
my
sober
rib's
for a
still
while.
real sore, and then it ended up didn't heal over that break.
Yeah,
and then I ended up having to get the plates in at the back end of all the early 19. But yeah, that was. I was worried. I remember Chris Masson going, "Are you all right?" on the bus. And I was like, "Mate, I haven't even thought about the game."
Yeah.
So we're driving to the game. I was like, I have not even prepped.
Yes.
I haven't. All I've been worried about is trying to get my body going. And then I'm like, Masto's trying to wind me up to have a panic attack.
Yeah. You've done
I'm
no
just there, I'm like,
intel on your opponents, nothing. You're nothing. You
I hadn't even gone to not one team meeting. Nothing.
You're in your own room just trying to
So I was like, wake up, and I was straight with Steve Gravina all day.
Yes.
And we'd do it 3 or 4 times a day, this breathing.
Spoiler alert, it worked out all right.
Yeah, it worked out okay. We got going. But, the Wim Hof stuff, by the time I finished, I was holding my breath for about just over 3 minutes.
Wow.
I've seen a lot about this over the last couple of years.
It's crazy. And your hands get pins and needles, your lips start going funny, and then... Yeah,
but
it's
at the
weird.
time, people would have been like, "What are you doing to heal yourself?"
And you're like, "I'm breathing."
Yeah, literally, I'm doing Wim Hof. What the hell is Wim Hof? But that's Steve Gravina. Like he was always a bit of a lateral thinker and different ways to do things. So I was lucky that I had him there.
Nathan, Nat, and Shaun podcast.
Gov, there's a couple of moments during your career which I always go, I would love to know what's going through your head. One of them is kicking the winning goal. You were able to go forward on a couple of occasions when the games are on the line and have a really big impact. One was against Port Adelaide, I can remember wholeheartedly.
That one's the best.
But I always, from the outside, go, does he ever get flustered? What goes through your mind when shit's hitting the fan, there's pressure on the game, and in
Siren's
particular...
gone, you've got to kick for goal to win the game.
Yeah, to be honest, because I was playing down back, I didn't ever think I'd get in that opportunity.
Didn't you start in the forward line?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was. I thought I was a very good forward.
Yeah,
but,
and you're completely different then because you wore number 42 as well.
Yeah, the old 42s. Yeah. It was. I started. No, my first game was down back.
Yeah.
And then Simo just wanted to get me into the side, so Darren Glass come back.
Yeah.
JK needed a couple of weeks off, so then I went forward. Finished. Yeah, played 6-7 games back into that year forward, and then we had all those injuries.
Yeah.
So end up down back. So but did I get? You're definitely nervous for sure, but I didn't really think about the outcome. I don't think about the outcome.
What's in your head as you run up? You think is there any?
I just thought I have to kick through the footy. If I don't kick through it, I normally, and even that kick that I had was a shank. It was a shank. It wasn't.
Shank.
Sorry, not a complete shank, but I didn't kick it well. But I kicked through it enough that it would. No, momentum would take it the direction I wanted.
Nothing quite like that after the siren win. That's the dream
that was,
when you're a kid, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, that was real good because I wasn't playing too well that day. And then I had an opportunity to get forward and try and get him. And the year before, Boots kicked the goal.
Yeah, he did.
So I think the 2 games that and they should have beaten us. Like you look at statistics-wise, both of those games, they should have beaten us.
The one when Luke Shuey did, wasn't that the only time you were in front was after the siren one?
Yeah, it was something silly of we had no time in front until...
Yeah, that's really heartbreaking for the opposition.
And to do that on their home ground as well in Adelaide.
And then I did it the year straight after the next game.
So good.
They were good games. I'll cherish those games against Port down there. Yeah. We always played pretty well at Adelaide Oval, and we loved playing there. So those games were always good. But no, I was more not worried about the outcome of what's need. It's just more what I need to do. and a lot of it was kick through the footy, and you run up and all that sort of jazz. And if it's behind the footy, it's try and mark it, and what do we need?
Yeah.
And like even the grand final one, I look back on it and I like go, holy shit! If I drop that,
I know.
or that goes out the back, I am cooked. Gone from the guy that started to the guy that lost us the grand final, and then you'd be going, "But why did he play?"
Yeah,
he was injured.
exactly. The whole narrative changes, doesn't it?
Just from that.
In that blink of an eye. And the fact that you did keep your feet when you took that mark, that was a conscious decision by you?
My coach, Praddy, said, look, you're going to have to go for your marks.
Yeah.
And then keep your feet. Because the keep the feet was a common thing for me.
Yes.
He used to get pissed off that I'd always go to the ground.
Yeah.
And it's just something as a player that you've always got to keep working on.
Yeah.
But I remember him saying
So that voice
keep
is
your
in
feet
your
and
head
go.
as you take that mark. You're thinking, keep your feet.
I wasn't thinking at all until I landed, and I was like, I've got to go.
You've got to keep moving
because
the
I just knew the game we needed to go.
the time
went. Went and it worked out. So But like I look at this play and everyone looks at it differently, but I guess I've marked it, and what am I thinking? I'm not really thinking anything. I'm just doing what I've done and what I learned at a young age.
You're just business.
Who was the player who never came up and contested you from Collingwood? I'm just trying to see. Is that the goalie behind the play?
Yeah. So,
mate, I'd be furious at him.
He'd played pretty well until then too.
Yeah, Goey was playing
just tracking and just tracking in. That's from a coaching perspective.
But this
you kidding me?
This whole play for me is like just something that I guess us as players have done forever. I've learnt to just attack the footy, take it to its highest point, keep your feet.
You're just in your flow. Your work.
Yeah, but then you look at Liam Ryan. Everyone thinks my mark's good.
Yeah,
I honestly think there's no one I've ever seen could take the mark that Liam Ryan took.
I know.
He's
under pressure like that as well.
Back 360.
I know.
Oh, man, it's like unbelievable.
I agree. That was an amazing mark.
But Liam Ryan's been doing that his whole career.
Yeah, he has.
So he's been there since he's a little kid.
Yeah.
And then Dom Sheed, every time I see him, he's on his left foot side trying to bang
sliding
kicks from
it
the
from
pocket.
that angle,
So it's just the way, when I look at that, it's like that's just from a junior age of doing things that we've just always done. And that play sort of worked out, which was really nice. But I look at it in a little bit different way.
Yeah, I bet.
When did the penny drop to become a professional in the sense of being at the top level, being a professional of AFL? By that, I mean it was a struggle for your early days. There's people questioning you.
Yeah.
When did it go?
When the stories about you being too fat for Fat Club come out, you go, oh, that's a bit harsh.
Yeah, I set a lot of records in that space. I still wasn't the worst. Scotty Cummins was worse, and Ash Sampi.
Morning, Scotty.
But I was top 3 for the highest skin folds for a while there. But it sort of, the penny dropped a bit when Simo sent me away, banished me. But then even after that, I was still, like my whole career, even to now, I was still just trying to even get better and more professional. And the last probably 4 or 5 years, I felt I got on top of everything and started, and I just
in that groove.
I just kept getting injured.
Yeah.
Like I was, that was the hardest bit, is that I'm doing everything now and I'm trying and I'm,
It's almost like you needed that bit of extra weight on you to prevent injury.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
That's harsh, isn't it?
Maybe, but yeah. And the game's changed, like the demands of the game's changed, so you have to adapt to the game. And the last probably 5 years, it's changed a lot, so I just had to keep getting better. And a lot of it for me wasn't as much my footy. It was more my preparation, how I'm training, pre-seasons, off-seasons, all that sort of stuff was my issue.
To look after your body as much as you could.
What are you hoping your legacy is?
I don't know. I just hope everyone just thought I was a good footballer, a professional footballer.
And a good guy.
Not athlete, because I was never a professional athlete. I felt like I was a professional footballer.
No doubt.
And that's all those small things and all the things about our game, the skills, fundamentals, knowing where to go, smarts, all that. That's what I've always valued. I feel like everyone sort of looked at me and thought, he's not that good because he's probably way overweight at times, which is fair. But yeah, for me, I just hope everyone just looked at me like I was a footballer. A proper footballer.
You were you're a 5-time All-Australian. You're a proper footballer.
No, there's no doubt about it. And I reckon a lot of people in hindsight would go, during that period when you first got picked up by the West Coast Eagles, they're going, we're looking for athletes. And it's proven them wrong. People who know how to play football, which is Gov, That's where the answer is.
You can turn them into an athlete, but it's harder to turn an athlete into a footballer.
So true.
Yeah.
So true.
Wise words, Nat.
Yeah, I feel like it's very hard to teach natural and skill and all those sorts of things.
Those
but
football smarts.
I'm just lucky I had the West Coast environment, and like I said, there's so many people that have had massive impacts.
Yeah.
They've all played a part. I had to do it a lot myself as well. Obviously, it comes back down to the individual. If you want it and you want to, you've got to do it yourself. But if you've got an environment that there's a lot of good people in that environment to help you, you got to utilise them, and I did. And Martin Nikoski was one when I first got banished. Steve Gravina and a lot of good leaders like Shannon Hearns, Luke Shuey's. These guys that just behind closed doors are the ones helping you.
Yeah. Yep.
But it was. Yeah, the career was great, but a lot of it I owe a lot of people because they didn't have to help me.
No, that's right.
I wanted to help myself, but when I showed everyone that I wanted to help myself, that's when
people stood up for you.
And that's fair enough because, I can't be expecting everyone to do everything for you.
No, that's right.
You're
yourself. A legit legend of the club. There's no doubt about it. We love you. We'll talk again next week. You're not going anywhere from our point of view.
Yeah,
you're still our West Coast Eagle for the rest of the season.
Awesome.
So thanks for coming in, Gov, and spending some extra time today. It's been great.
Thanks, guys.
Nathan, Nat and Shaun is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.